You never know how one ordinary walk down a busy street can change everything. Sometimes life throws you into a moment you didn't expect, a moment where you have to make a choice. And that's exactly what happened to a man you all know, Shaquille O'Neal. But what he saw that day on the streets of New York will shock you. Trust me, this story will stay with you long after you hear it. But before we dive in, don't forget to like this video and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I love connecting with all of you. If you're new here, welcome to Storytime with Rose, where we share motivational and heartwarming stories. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a new story. Now, let's get into it. New York City was buzzing as always, taxis honking, people rushing past each other, and towering skyscrapers casting long shadows over the streets. It was a city that never slowed down, never stopped moving. But sometimes, in all the hustle, people forgot to look around, to notice what really mattered. Shaquille O'Neal had seen it all. As a basketball legend, he'd traveled the world, met thousands of people, and lived a life most could only dream of. But Shaq was never one to forget his roots. Growing up, he knew what it was like to face challenges and watch his mother work hard, just to keep food on the table. That afternoon, Shaq was in New York for a charity event, promoting programs to help underprivileged kids. He loved giving back. It was something his mother had always taught him. After the event, instead of taking his car back to the hotel, he decided to walk. He liked blending in, listening to the city's rhythm, feeling connected to the people. As he walked down a quieter street near the edge of Harlem, something caught his eye. A small figure huddled near a grimy alleyway, sitting on the cold pavement next to a stack of cardboard boxes. It was a little girl, maybe 8 or 9 years old. Her dark, curly hair was tangled, and her clothes were torn and dirty. She hugged her knees tightly, shivering against the bitter wind. Shaq slowed down, his heart sinking. He noticed people walking by without a second glance. Some saw her but quickly looked away, their expressions indifferent or uncomfortable. Shaq's instincts kicked in. He couldn't just walk by. He approached carefully, his massive frame casting a shadow over the girl. "Hey there, little one," he said softly, trying not to scare her. "You okay?" The girl flinched, her wide brown eyes filled with fear. But something about Shaq's warm, gentle tone made her stay. I'm fine," she said, though her voice was shaky. Shaq crouched down to her level, his knees almost touching the pavement. "You don't look fine, sweetheart. What's your name?" "Amara," she whispered. "Amara?" he repeated kindly. "That's a beautiful name. Where's your family, Amara?" Her lips trembled. I don't have one anymore." Shaq's heart tightened. "What happened, baby girl?" Amara's voice was barely audible. "My mom got sick. We didn't have money for the doctor. Her voice broke. "She's gone now." Shaq swallowed hard, fighting back the lump in his throat. "How long have you been out here?" "A few weeks, I think," she said, wiping a tear from her cheek. "I tried to go to the shelter, but they said they were full. Nobody wants to help me. They just look at me and walk away." Shaq knew exactly why some people turned away. The ugly truth was that being black and poor often meant being overlooked, ignored, or judged, but not by him. "Listen, Amara," Shaq said firmly. "You're not invisible to me, and you're not going to be out here by yourself anymore, okay?" Her eyes searched his face, looking for sincerity. "You mean it?" "I promise," Shaq said, his voice unwavering. Without hesitation, he took off his thick designer coat and wrapped it around her small frame. Then he scooped her up in his massive arms, shielding her from the cold. People on the street began to notice, their eyes wide with curiosity. "Is that Shaquille O'Neal?" someone whispered. "Yay. But what's he doing?" another asked. Shaq didn't care about the stares. He carried Amara to a nearby diner, where the warmth immediately wrapped around them. The smell of fresh coffee and sizzling bacon filled the air. The waitress, wide-eyed at the sight of the basketball legend, quickly led them to a booth. "Anything you need, Mr. O'Neal?" Yeah, Shaq said, gently setting Amara down. Get my girl here a hot meal, whatever she wants. Amara's eyes lit up for the first time. Really? Really, Shaq grinned. Go crazy. She ordered pancakes, eggs, and hot chocolate, and Shaq watched as she devoured the food like she hadn't eaten in days. As she ate, Shaq made calls to social services, to trusted friends who could help. But he knew he wasn't going to just hand her off and walk away. Over the next few weeks, Shaq made sure Amara had everything she needed: a safe place to stay, warm clothes, and counseling to help her heal from her trauma. He connected her with a loving family who wanted to adopt her. But more importantly, Shaq stayed in her life. He showed up for school events, birthdays, and milestones, becoming the mentor and father figure she never had. The media caught wind of the story, and it made headlines. When asked why he had stepped in, Shaq's answer was simple but powerful. No child should ever feel invisible. We've got to look out for each other, especially our kids. If you see someone in need, don't look away. Be the difference. His actions sparked a wave of kindness, inspiring others to step up and help children in their communities. Amara blossomed into a confident, bright young girl, filled with hope for the future. Years later, at her high school graduation, Shaq sat in the front row, tears in his eyes as she gave her speech. Because someone saw me when the world didn't, Amara said, her voice strong and clear. I learned to believe in myself. Thank you, Shaquille O'Neal, for being my hero. The audience erupted in applause, but Shaq simply smiled, his heart full. It wasn't about the recognition, it was about doing what was right. And in that moment, he knew sometimes all it takes to change a life is to notice someone and show them they matter. And that's how one act of kindness changed everything for Amara. Shaquille O'Neal didn't just help her survive, he gave her hope, love, and a future. His actions remind us that we all have the power to make a difference, even in the smallest moments. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video and share it with someone who needs a little inspiration today. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What did this story teach you? And if you're new here, welcome to Storytime with Rose. Make sure to subscribe and turn on that bell so you never miss a new story filled with motivation, hope, and lessons we can all learn from. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.